Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Hangout with Father. Today we have with us Fr Bishoy Alantony, Managing Director of CYC. Welcome, Abuna. Thank you for being with us.
It's a blessing to be with you.
And we also have another guest with us, John Shawi. Hi, John.
Hey, how are you?
Great, thank you. So today's topic is on being still. So being still, but also directed at ourselves. And sometimes when our, dignity is hurt, or when someone falsely accuses us, we have the natural instinct to defend ourselves. And sometimes that makes matters worse, or, we don't rest easy with those situations. So today we're here to discuss on being still, specifically when it comes to defending ourselves. So Abuna, we will go ahead and start with you. So a lot of us wonder how we can, how it's possible for us to stay quiet and not defend ourselves, especially in a situation that is, our natural instinct is to just defend and confront people when we think they have falsely accused us or done us wrong.
Who said that you can't defend yourself? You can. Yeah, but quietly and with meekness. Yes, you are very humble, and you are just. I always think about our Lord Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ in John, Saint John, the Gospel of Saint John, I think 22. He was very clear when the servant slapped him on his face. He asked him, "Did I did something wrong to do that? If I did something wrong, you have to witness the bad thing I did." And he was very clear that he didn't accept accusation without accusation. I mean, he's just judged him without any accusation. So I think we have to defend ourselves, but without anger, without pride, without ego, and we have to tell others, if I have the right for something, I will ask for that right. I mean, St. Paul, the apostle, when they they were gonna scourge him, he said, "I am a Roman citizen," and they didn't. And the guy, the ruler himself, came to apologize and to ask him the forgiveness. So we have the right to tell if there is something wrong against us without any accusation. If I am wrong, yes, they have the right. But if I am not, I didn't do anything wrong, I have to tell why you are doing that, and this is not a big deal. I mean, we have the right, John?
I mean, yeah, I think obviously what you're saying is perfect. When we think about what Christ went through in the last couple of days on earth, there's two sides of it, right? We see him quiet a lot, and then at certain points, Christ speaks up. He's quiet a lot when he's being accused of things that are untrue, right? Then he just lets them speak, and he stays quiet. But when he's asked something like, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Right? Now he's being asked about a truth, so he responds. When the soldier slapped him, like Abuna said, he slapped him for no good reason, so he responded. So I feel like sometimes we're called to do both. Like there's many examples of saints that have taken accusations and stayed quiet, right? I don't remember the saint's name, but there's a saint who was a monk, and he was accused of impregnating a girl, right? And he said nothing. He allowed the people to think that he impregnated her. He took care of her, and when it came time for her to give birth, her pregnancy basically stopped. She couldn't give birth.
Saint Macarius the Great.
Yeah, and so he did nothing, and eventually the girl came to him and she confessed what she did, and then she was able to give birth. And when people came back to try to apologize to him, he ran away, right? So I think we see Christ accepting false accusation for our sake, right? So sometimes maybe false accusations, depending on what it's for, right? It's not just for the sake of, being somebody's doormat. So, St. Macarius maybe accepted that false accusation because maybe he knew the girl needed somebody to take care of the baby. So he was willing to accept the false accusation. So I think it's a sacrifice thing, right? If I am doing it to be quiet and sacrifice for someone else, I think it's acceptable. If I'm doing it out of weakness and it's not a sacrifice, it's not a giving thing, I don't think God is calling us to be weak. And he showed that he wasn't weak when he needed to be. So it's not a weakness. I think it's a self-giving thing, maybe.
Yeah. What do you think?
So I think there's there are two situations we can be put in where, it's like you said, someone falsely accusing us, and we humbly, accept it and trusting that God will defend us. But then there's also the other situation where, it's something as simple as someone who may not be giving us a chance at friendship or something, like because they think, I don't know, not worthy, or we think that someone doesn't think we're good enough or in our value. So do you know what I'm trying to say? So there's some situation where it's like directly at you, and then another situation where you feel the need to kind of like stand up and prove yourself and prove your value to other people. So how can we, trust in God, and how can we wait in God to, raise our self-esteem or raise us up? Because waiting is hard. So how can we practically wait?
What do you think, John?
I mean, I started learning a little bit more on how to do that after I became a dad, I think. Because I realized that if somebody did that to any of my daughters, I won't wait for them to defend themselves. I'll step in and I'll say, listen, you don't know my daughter. Like, give her a chance. This is actually who she is. So I have to trust in the fact that my father will do the same thing for me, right? And my father knows my value, and it's his other son or daughter who don't see my value. So I think when God is looking at both his sons or his daughters, he's going to, like, he is the bringer of peace, right? He is the king of peace. So if he has two sons or daughters that are at conflict, if one of them puts their trust in him and waits on his intervention, I think as a father, he's going to intervene. Like, there's no, before having kids, maybe I didn't understand it or I didn't feel it, but as a father, he's going to intervene. There's no doubt in my mind. So I think when we start seeing him as our father, and we understand that he's also the father of the person that's throwing the accusation my way, it makes it easier for me to wait and just hand it off to him.
But not always happening like that. I mean, sometimes God has his own plan for us. Even others are accusing us falsely. He allowed it. Sometimes he allowed that. And you can see that with the same story you just told us about St. Macarius the Great. St. Macarius the Great, he was accused, and the people were spitting on him for 9 months or less, but he didn't defend himself, and God didn't defend him. At the end of the story, that God defended him, but some of the saints, God didn't defend them until they died. But he will defend them and will show how they are great. And when after the end of the world, I mean, when the both persons will be in heaven, the one who accused falsely, he will know that he did a very big mistake, and he will see the other one is in a great position. So I believe we can say that always as a father, he has to come and save me. And Sometimes God allows that. And when, I will tell you a story, what happened with me. That there were a guy that I helped him a lot, and I really helped him, and I got him a very, very big job and big villa, cars, everything. And one day I was talking with him about something or defending one of the leaders in the church, and he didn't like him. He kept yelling, and he kicked me out of his house. Get out of my house. I don't want to see your face again. And he was mad at me like crazy. So until I was falling while I'm going to my car because he was shouting and yelling, screaming like crazy. I will not tell you that I was a saint or I'm a saint. No, I was very bad actually. And when I ran to my car, I was very, very furious and angry. How come I'm working with you, Lord? I'm your son, I'm your man, and he's doing that with me. I will destroy his life. I will revenge. And I was thinking seriously that because in my hand to destroy his life, he forgot. That's it. So anyway, I kept like that, like crazy, until I reached the monastery which I was in at that time. And the parking lot, it's in front of the church. So I parked the car. Then I said, okay, I will go to the church to calm down. So I sat in the church alone. Then I felt there is somebody is just knocking into my heart or talking to me, and I can hear the voice very loud. I said, why are you very, very sad and upset like that? I said, are you asking, Lord? Are you asking? You know what happened to me? You have to revenge. I am your man, and you have to do something. You have to defend me and prove to him that I am right and he's wrong. And the voice said, I am your master. Are you imitating your master or not? Of course, Lord. But I have, you know, you came here for on earth to sacrifice your life for my sake. But now you are my father and you have to do something. I said, but I don't want to do anything because I can't. I said, why? You can't? You can everything. He said, no, as long as you have no forgiveness, I cannot do anything. You have to forgive him. I said, forgive him? How come? And I kept arguing, and God kept getting me verse after verse after verse, all the verses in the Bible in front of me until he convinced me. So I said, I'm sorry, Lord. He said, no, you have to pray for him. Lord, it's too much for me to pray for him. I can pray against him, yes. I said, no, you have to pray for him. Because I said, pray for those who are dealing with you badly. So I knelt down and I started crying, and I asked forgiveness for him because I was afraid that God will revenge for me from him. So I kept asking the Lord to forgive him. Anyway, and I felt so happy after that. And I forgive him completely. 2 or 3 days later, I knew that his son has the birthday. So I took a gift because we had to have birthday together. I took a gift, I put it in front of the door, I rang the bell, and I ran to the car before the man come. This time he will shoot me, was gone. So when I went to my car, I found him running behind the car, trying to stop me, crying. I can see him in the mirror. He fell many times. So I stopped and I said, I'm sorry. I didn't want to disturb you. I just want to give you the gift. He said, Abuna, I am sorry. You don't understand. After you left after 1 hour, after you left me, it's like a fire in my head, in my house, in my body. I was crying like crazy. Do you know when? 1 hour. It's exactly when I knelt down and I said, forgive him, Lord. So the Lord started working in his heart to fix him. So I think not always God doing that. You know, many times God, as a father also, seeing that it's good for you to be accused falsely. You need to be humble. You need to pray for me. You need to know how to bear others more. Okay, Lina? You have any opinion?
Yeah, I mean that reminds me a lot of when God says pray for those who persecute you. And I think now it's, you know, time for us to pray for those who persecute us, and that can be persecuting our self-esteem, our pride, those who persecute us verbally, and it doesn't have to be, you know, just the physical persecution. So when you said, you know, you have to pray for them, it really did remind me, and it's so important that we have to pray for each other, and not just for those who are kind to us, who ask us for their prayers, but those who are struggling with even just showing love to other people. And your story also reminds me of when Saint Mary, when everybody falsely accused her when she was pregnant with Christ, and she didn't say anything, and she was just, you know, humbly carrying out her calling from Christ. And so I think that's very important also for us to remember and to imitate her in her humility, even when it hurts like our own dignity.
But you know that Mary, not everyone accused her, only Joseph.
Joseph.
In his heart, because nobody knows anything except Joseph. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, that's, and if John, do you have any other comments?
No, I mean, I love the story that Abuna said, because I mean, it puts it all together, right? Like at the end of the day, God set a fire inside that guy's heart.
Yeah.
Because he wants Abuna and that guy to come back together, right? Like it's you know, there was I don't know if you ever watched the movie The Shack, and there's this movie called The Shack, and I think it's like based on a story, like a written book. I didn't read the book, I just watched the movie. But the best part of this movie is like it's God revealing himself to this one guy. You have to watch it. It's a really cool movie. And the best part of it is when God reveals to this guy how much of a father he is, and why it's difficult for him to take revenge from one of his other sons when a son prays for that. And that he would much rather have, like he asked Abuna in his prayers, to pray for him rather than to pray for revenge over him, right? You know, we see in Revelations, there's a part in Revelations where there's souls under the altar that tell, you know, that say to God, when will you avenge us, right? And God says, well, you know, the time is coming. It's not now. I'm waiting for your other brothers and sisters to come here. So there is a time for vengeance. There is a time where everybody will run out of time to be forgiven, to ask for forgiveness. And if people reach that end of the road, then there will be a time where vengeance comes. But, you know, God says vengeance is mine, right? So it's his, it's not ours. So it's, you know, he tells us that there's a time for it. But until that time comes, he wants us to do exactly what he asked Abuna to do for that guy, which is to pray for forgiveness and not to pray for vengeance. Right?
And why we are always focusing on those who are accusing us falsely? Why we are not focusing on what we are as Christian has to do with them? I mean, our reaction is more important of their act. Okay.
Thank you so much, Abuna. Sorry, John.
I was just going to say, it's a chance to grow, like Abuna said.
Yes, Lina.
I was just saying thank you, Abuna.
Yeah.
Thank you for that comment. Abuna or John, do you have any other comment to say?
I will tell you something. It's part of what we are talking about is forgiveness. Forgiveness is a very important part, because without forgiveness, we cannot live. And those who are forgiving, those the ones will go to heaven. And there is a story in the history of the church that there were two guys, Christian. They originally were very close friends. Then a problem happened among them, and everyone made mistakes against each other. And they said stuff against each other. So both were bad. Anyway, it was the time at the time of martyrdom. So one of them, known as Christian, so the guards or the soldiers caught him and took him to be a martyr. And the other guy met him in the road, and he saw him going with the soldiers to the place which he will die. They will kill him there. So he started talking to him and said, "Forgive me, O martyr of God. I am very bad. I did a lot of things against you. I forgive you from my heart, as if you did nothing. You are a saint, so accept my apology." The other guy said, "No, I'll not forgive you. I cannot forget what you did with me." He said, "My friend, yeah, we both did something wrong against each other, but I forgive you from my heart, deep my heart, trust me. I can't even remember anything for you." He said, "No, I remember everything for you. I will not forget and will never forgive you of what you've done." He kept begging him the whole way to the place of martyrdom. And when the one who is gonna die, they started to torture him and show him the torture equipment, he got afraid and he denied Christ. So the one who forgave him found an angel carrying a crown, standing, waiting. So he ran and said, "I am Christian, I'm Christian." They took him and he has been beheaded, and he got the crown of heaven because he forgave his friend. And the other one lost the crown just because he didn't forgive his friend. So forgiveness, it's very, very important. Yes, people can accuse us falsely. So what? What are the problem? Yes, I'm not telling you we are saints and will accept it happily and nicely. No, it will hurt us. But at the end, it's just if we pray for them, if we forgive them, it will be easy for us to continue and to come over such pain of their accusation.
Thank you so much, Abuna. And thank you very much, John. And I hope that we can always remember to, trust in God and defending us, pray for others, forgiving others, because it's super important. And otherwise, we will not be able to survive, because part of imitating Christ himself is to, turn the other cheek. He himself was silent in so many times, in so many situations during his passion, where he could have stood up for himself. So if he stayed silent and was humble enough to allow others to hurt him and falsely accuse him, then we can too. So I hope that we can always remember
he
that.
prayed for them. You have to know that at the end he asked for forgiveness for them.
Yes, Abuna. Very, very true. So thank you very much again, and we hope that you would be able to join us for the next episode.